Think on these things. When properly directed, the subconscious mind can inspire the conscious mind to do the right thing at the right time, to take advantage of opportunities during the psychological moment, and to so deal with circumstances that all things will work together to promote the object in view. It is therefore evident that when the subconscious is trained to work in harmony with the objects and desires of the conscious mind, failure becomes impossible, and success in greater and greater measure may be secured by anyone. When trying to remove undesirable habits, tendency or desires, the mind should never think, "I shall not do this anymore," because through such a thought or statement, the habit in mind will be re-impressed upon the subconscious and will gain a deeper foothold in the system than it had before. The proper course to pursue is to forget completely what you desire to remove. Refuse to think about it when tempted to think of the matter. Turn attention upon the opposite qualities, desires or tendencies. Should you fail to become sufficiently interested in those opposite desires to forget what you want to forget, look for the most interesting points of view connected with those desires. The mental effort employed in trying to find the most interesting point of view connected with those desires will cause the mind to become thoroughly interested in those desires and will consequently forget those things that should be forgotten. While the mind is being interested in those desires that you wish to cultivate, they should be impressed upon the subconscious with all the depth of feeling that can possibly be aroused. These impressions should be repeated a number of times every day, and the new desires will soon take root in the subconscious. Every desire or tendency that takes root in the subconscious will begin to develop and express itself in the personal self, and will be felt throughout the personality. When the new desire is fully expressed, it will be thoroughly felt, and since no two desires of the opposite nature can exist in the person at the same time, the old desire will disappear, the old tendency and the old habits will have vanished completely. To impress upon the subconscious a strong desire for the better, the purer, and the superior is to cause the system to crave something better. The force of desire will be refined, the entire organism will be purified, and the wants of the personal self will become normal on a higher plane. All kinds of undesirable habits may be removed by constantly impressing upon the subconscious the idea of pure desire, and all tendencies to anger, hatred, and similar states may be removed by causing the qualities of love, kindness, justice, and sympathy to be more fully developed in the great within. To remove fear and worry, impress the subconscious as frequently as possible with the deep feeling of faith, gratitude, and mental sunshine. To have faith is to know that man has the power to perpetually increase the good, and that he may constantly press on to better things and greater things. To have faith is to be guided by superior mental lucidity, and thereby know how to select what is safe and secure. And he who knows that he is on the safe path, the ascending path, the endless path to better things and greater things, has eliminated fear absolutely. To live constantly in the spirit of gratitude is not only to remove worry, but the cause of worry. To be grateful for the good that is now coming into life is to open the way for the coming of greater good. This is the law, and he who is daily receiving the greatest good has no cause for worry. He will even forget that worry ever had a place in his mind. To constantly impress the subconscious with mental sunshine is to establish the tendency to live on the bright side, the sunny side, and to live on the bright side is to increase your own brightness. Your mind will become more brilliant. Your thinking will have more lucidity and clearness. Your nature will have more sweetness. Your personality will be in more perfect harmony with everything. Your life will be better. Your work will be better. Everything will be better. Therefore, by living on the bright side, all things will steadily become better and brighter for you. When all is dark and everything seems to go wrong, arouse all your energies for the purpose of impressing and directing the subconsciousness to produce the change you desire. Give the deepest possible feeling to those impressions and have stronger faith than you have ever had before. Continue persistently until the great within begins to respond. You will then feel from within how to act, and you will be given the power to do what you feel you should do. Before long, things will take a turn. The threatened calamity will be avoided by the coming forth of that power within that is greater than all adversities, all troubles, all wrongs. And instead, this power, having been awakened, will proceed to create a better future than you ever knew before. Chapter 6. You can become what you desire to be. While the subconscious is being impressed, no thought whatever should be given to limitation, and no comparisons should be made with other persons or previous attainments. To think that you wish to do better today than you did yesterday is to give the subconscious two unrelated ideas upon which to act: the idea of a lesser achievement of the past and the idea of a greater achievement of the future. The subconscious will try to reproduce them both, but as they are antagonistic, they will neutralize each other and there will be no result. The greater and the lesser cannot be produced by the same force at the same time. To impress the desire that you may become greater than anyone else will also present to the subconscious two conflicting ideas, and the results again will be neutralized. The course to pursue is to forget the lesser achievements of yesterday. Think only of the greater achievements that you wish to promote today. Then direct the subconscious to do today what you wish to have done today. This will cause the great within to give all its power and attention to the one idea, the greater achievement of today, and the greater achievement will positively follow. Know what you desire to become. Resolve to become what you desire to become. Whether others have reached those heights or not, forget the lesser heights that others have reached and give your whole mind and soul to the greater heights that you have resolved to reach. You can become what you desire to become. The great within is limitless and can give you all the wisdom and all the power that you may require. Knowing this, direct the great within to bring forth what you may need to reach your lofty goal, and the same will be done. The subconscious never fails to do what it is properly directed to do. While impressing the subconscious, think of the perfect in regard to quality and the limitless in regard to quantity. Never specify an exact amount, nor any special degree. Always desire the limitless and the perfect. Desire nothing less, and animate consciousness with a strong desire to expand constantly during the process, so that the highest quality and the greatest quantity possible may be realized. Desire the fullest possible expression in the great eternal now. Realize that your own inherent powers and capabilities are limitless, and impress that idea upon the subconscious. Give no thought whatever to the lesser attainments in your own life or in the lives of others, but keep your mental eye single upon what you wish to become, knowing that you can become what you wish to become because there are no limitations in the great within. When the subconscious begins to respond, a distinct sensation is frequently felt of some interior power working through you. This means that greater power from within is being awakened, and the outer mind should give full right of way so that a complete expression may be secured. That is, the conscious mind should become quiet, serene, and thoroughly receptive, and should forget the personal self for the time. When the personal self is forgotten, and the greater interior self is given full possession of both the mentality and the personality, it is then that one's greatest work is done. It is then that real ability, real talent, and real genius can appear in tangible life and action. When the musician forgets herself, there is something in her music that awakens the very depth of the soul, and you are lifted to a fairer world than you ever knew before. When the artist forgets himself, his pictures are given immortal life, and every touch reveals a universe of indescribable beauty. When the orator forgets himself, he speaks as one having authority, and you inwardly feel that every word is true. When the practical man of affairs forgets himself, he is given a power that is irresistible, and the obstacles that are encountered in the way disappear as if they never had the slightest existence. It is such people that do great things in the world. It is such people who live in the human heart after ages have passed away, and their secret is this: the greatness within them was awakened and was permitted to give full expression to its rare and superior power. When you feel this higher power mysteriously moving within the greater depths of mind and soul, you know what is taking place. Be calm and give the superior self the right of way. At first, this power may feel as if it were distinct from yourself, but it is not. It is your own superior power, the coming forth of your own limitless power, the very power that you have for some time been directing the subconscious to produce. And when you feel that it is your own, it is placed in your full conscious possession and will do whatever you may desire or direct. To inwardly feel that the entire within is your own is extremely important, because the more completely the conscious mind is united with the power of the subconscious, the more perfectly can the conscious mind impress the subconscious, the more thoroughly can the greater power of the subconscious express itself in external, tangible action. When you are about to do something that demands the best that is within you, impress the subconscious for higher power. Then wait a few moments for this power to appear, and when it does appear, let the outer self obey. The great within has come forth to do your work, and no power in existence can do it better. To enter into full conscious possession of the higher power from within, and to give full right of way to this power, is to give your objective talents and faculties to the greatest power and the best power at your command. Chapter 7. Developing the genius within. To impress the subconscious for more power, it is necessary to give to that impression all the power that mind is conscious of now. In other words, the seed that is already at hand should be placed in rich soil. The power that is now active in the conscious mind should be caused to act upon the subconscious. There will be increase, and by re-impressing the added power upon the subconscious, every time added power is gained, this increase will become perpetual. To proceed, concentrate attention upon the subconscious side of the entire personality, and desire gently but with deep feeling to draw all the present active energies of the system into the subconscious. The more energy that is drawn into the subconscious during this process, the more power will be impressed upon the subconscious. And the more power that is impressed upon the subconscious, the more power will be expressed from the subconscious. The law is that whatever power is impressed upon the subconscious will return to the outer personality with added power, just as every seed sown in rich soil will reproduce itself 10, 20, 60, even 100-fold. Therefore, to daily arouse all the power that we personally possess and to impress all of that power upon the subconscious is to increase perpetually the quantity of personal power, and the quality of that power can be steadily improved by transmuting and refining all the present forces of the system before they are impressed upon the subconscious. Before the conscious mind begins to act upon the subconscious, all thought and all feeling should be elevated into the highest states of quality, worth, and superiority that can possibly be realized. This will cause the impression to be superior, and a superior impression will produce a superior expression. That which is common, ordinary, or inferior should never be held in mind, nor deeply felt for a moment, because to feel the ordinary is to impress the ordinary upon the subconscious. It is sowing inferior seeds, and the harvest will be cheap, common, and worthless. No person should ever think of himself as inferior or permit himself to recognize the imperfect in his nature. To recognize or feel the imperfect is to sow more seeds of imperfection and reap another harvest that is not worthwhile. There is a superior nature within man. This nature alone should be recognized and felt. Only those thoughts and ideas that are formed in the exact likeness of the superior should be impressed upon the subconscious, and the subconscious will respond by giving superiority to the entire mentality and the entire personality. The average person fails to improve because he lives mainly in the consciousness of his imperfections. He feels that he is ordinary and constantly impresses the subconscious with this feeling of the ordinary. The subconscious naturally responds by producing the ordinary both in mind and body. That person, however, who lives in the ideal, who thinks constantly of greater worth that is within him, and who tries to feel and realize his superior nature, will give quality to every possible impression that may enter the subconscious, and according to the law of action and reaction, will steadily develop greater quality and worth throughout his entire nature. The quality of the impression that is given to the subconscious always corresponds with the degree of quality of which we are conscious at the time the impression is made. To refine, elevate, and enrich all thought and feeling before the conscious mind begins to act upon the subconscious is therefore of the highest importance. The more quality that is given to the power that is being developed, the greater the result that may be secured through the application of that power. It is quality and quantity combined that produces greatness and greatness. Greater and greater greatness is the purpose we all have in view. To constantly feel the greatness of the great within is to constantly impress upon the subconscious the idea of greatness. This will cause the subconscious to develop greatness and express greatness through every part of the personal man. As greatness develops, the feeling of greatness will become deeper, stronger, and more intense. This will cause larger and finer ideas of greatness to be impressed upon the subconscious, and the result of these later impressions will be larger and greater expressions. A larger measure of greatness will be developed perpetually through the law of much gathering more, or to him that hath shall be given more. All development comes from the subconscious, and since the possibilities of great within are limitless, and anyone can, through the proper direction of the subconscious, develop remarkable ability, extraordinary talent, and rare genius. All genius is the result of a large subconscious mentality. Therefore, anyone can become a genius by awakening a larger and larger measure of the great within. That a genius is asleep in the subconscious of every man is literally true. But to awaken this genius is not the only essential. The conscious mind must be cultivated scientifically so that the superior ability from within may find free and full expression. The conscious mind should be cultivated, the subconscious should be developed, the conscious mind should be trained to do things, while the subconscious should be directed to give more and more power for the doing of greater and greater things. The subconscious has the capacity to produce genius in any mind, the greatest genius imaginable, but the conscious mind must be highly cultivated so as to become a fit instrument through which great genius may find expression for its superior work. When quality and worth are received from the subconscious, the conscious mind should use those things in practical action, so that the outer elements and forces of mind may be trained to appreciate quality and appropriate worth in all their tangible expressions. The conscious and the subconscious sides of mind should be placed in the most perfect harmonious relations, so that every impression of the conscious mind may enter deeply into the subconscious, and every expression from the subconscious may work through the conscious mind without any restriction or interference whatever. The entire mind develops through the attainment of deeper and higher states of consciousness of the great within, and as this interior realm is boundless, there is no end to the possibilities of mental development. To gain this interior consciousness, objective consciousness should be constantly deepened toward the unfathomable within, and this is accomplished by training all the mental tendency to move toward the within. The mental tendency will move towards those states of being to which we give the greatest amount of attention. Therefore, by constantly thinking with deep feeling of the great within, all the mental tendency will move toward and into the great within, and will carry into the subconscious every idea, thought, or desire that the conscious mind may wish to realize and fulfill. When all the mental tendency move into the subconscious, and all thought is given feeling, worth, and quality, the subconscious will constantly be impressed with superior ideas, which means a constant expression of superior life, superior ability, and superior power. The more deeply the tendency of mind enter the subconscious, the more of the great within will be awakened, and whatever is awakened in the within will invariably come forth into the personal man. It is therefore evident that when we cease to live on the surface of personal life, we shall constantly improve that surface. By mentally living in the within, we shall strengthen, enrich, and perfect the without. That is, we improve external effects by going more deeply into the subconscious and increasing the quality and the power of internal causes. The person who actually enters the deeper life to live will not ignore the body. Those who simply dream of inner states of life may neglect the body, but those who thoroughly develop the greater inner life will become able to give the body the best that can be secured, and they will enjoy physical existence infinitely more than those who simply live on the surface. It is the truth that whatever we awaken and develop in the great within will invariably come forth into tangible personal expression. Chapter 7. You may become what you wish to be. Each person is no more and no less than what has been given to him by his subconscious mind. And as the subconscious is prepared to give as much as anyone may desire, the statement that we all may become whatsoever we may wish to become is therefore absolutely true. But what the subconscious is to give to any person depends largely upon the movement of his mental tendencies. All the creative energies of the system follow the tendencies of the mind. Therefore, when all the mental tendencies move towards the subconscious, all the surplus energy that is generated in the system will enter the subconscious, and the more energy that enters the subconscious, the more of the subconscious will be awakened and developed. The larger the field that is placed under cultivation, the greater the harvest. Every mental tendency that is trained to enter the subconscious will cause a corresponding tendency to be permanently expressed. Therefore, by causing all the worthy tendency to move towards the subconscious will respond by expressing through the personality the tendency to be just, true, honest, virtuous, kind, sympathetic, sweet-tempered, cheerful, fearless, faithful, persevering, industrious, in brief, everything that goes to make a strong and worthy personality. By a simple system of subconscious training, anyone can build up the strongest and most beautiful character imaginable, and in a reasonable time make it a permanent part of himself. A lack of character is due entirely to the fact that the subconscious has been improperly impressed. Misleading tendencies have been formed, and let it be remembered that nothing can tempt man to go wrong except the perverse tendency that are expressed from his own subconscious mind. Every weak place in mind or character is caused by a subconscious tendency that is going wrong. Such tendencies may have been inherited. Many of them are, but they can all be corrected by daily directing the subconscious to produce the opposite quality. To think with conviction that human nature is weak is to impress upon the subconscious the idea of weakness, and the subconscious will respond by producing a tendency to weakness. Therefore, he who thinks he is weak will cause his nature to continue to be weak. We are weak or strong according to what we direct the subconscious to produce in us. To realize that the great within contains the power to make the personality as strong as we may wish it to be, and to impress upon the subconscious a strong desire for that power, is to direct the subconscious to make us strong, and whatever we direct the subconscious to do, the same will invariably be done. There is no reason whatever why any person should continue to have a weak body, a weak character, or a weak mind. Anything in the being of man can be made strong if the subconscious is properly directed to bring forth the greater life and the greater power. When the great within is awakened, we have the powerful personality, the giant mind, the irresistible character, and the great soul. The natural result is a great life, a life that is too strong to be tempted, too strong to be swayed or disturbed by adversity, too strong to be turned from the path to its lofty goal. Such a life will not only live a life that is life, but will be an endless inspiration to the race, and such a life is waiting in the great within of every soul. Chapter 8. Use of this conscious and subconscious. The great within is the source of all inspirations, all real music, all permanent art, all poetry with soul, all rich thoughts, all ideas of genuine worth, all inventions, all discovery, all science, and the truth that is absolute. Everything that has worth, be it in a small degree or in a very great degree, comes directly from the richness of the subconscious. Therefore, to do the greater, the mind should enter into the closest touch with the great within, and should expect the very best that the limitless within can produce. When in need of ideas, plans, methods, ways, and means, call upon the subconscious. The call will not be in vain. The subconscious can supply every need and will invariably do so when properly directed. While directing the subconscious, however, all conscious action must be in absolute poise. It is not only necessary to impress what we desire, but to impress that desire in such a way that it will actually produce an impression. When in the presence of the great fact that the within is limitless, the mind will naturally become enthusiastic, feeling will run high, and is very liable to become overwrought. But such a feeling has no depth. It is simply superficial emotionalism. It will waste any amount of energy, but will never produce a single impression upon the subconscious. To impress the subconscious, the mind must be calm. The entire personality must be in poise, and this feeling of poise must have that great depth that touches the very soul of life itself. Not the slightest trace of emotional enthusiasm must be permitted, nor must feeling run toward the surface at any time. The action of mind, especially those of feeling, must move towards the great within if the subconscious is to be reached. There must be no anxiety connected with the desire to impress the subconscious, and every form of doubt must be eliminated completely. To properly impress the subconscious, faithful application is necessary, also constant practice and a perseverance that will not give up, but the prize is worthy of the effort. To realize that the subconscious can and will do anything when properly impressed is to persevere until the proper impression has been made, and it is those who work in this realization that secure the marvelous results. To eliminate the tendency to feel emotional while acting upon the subconscious, cultivate the substantial feeling, train yourself to feel substantial at all times, and wild, empty, overwrought feelings will entirely disappear. It is the proper feeling that determines the proper impression. The attainment of the deep, substantial feeling is therefore extremely important, though it is equally important to be able to feel the vibration of the finer forces of the system. It is the finer forces that impress the subconscious, and the subconscious is invariably impressed whenever these forces are felt. To develop the consciousness of the finer forces, attention should be frequently concentrated upon that life that permeates the tangible elements in every part of being. And during this concentration, the feeling of consciousness should be deepened and expanded as much as possible. Every conscious action should be trained to penetrate to the very depth of life. And during this process, the mind should act in the realization that the more deeply it penetrates any element in the personality, the finer will be the forces into which consciousness will enter. To awaken or arouse any force or element, attention should be concentrated upon the state in which the desired force or element is known to exist, and the mind should think of the nature of that force or element according to the best possible understanding that can be formed of that nature. The same method may be employed in the development of the subconscious side of any desired faculty or talent. The creative energies of the system always build up those qualities of which the mind may be thinking. Therefore, to actually and continually think of the real nature of a great talent is to develop the talent into the same degree of greatness that is discerned in the mind. The power of this method in the development of ability, talent, and genius is practically unlimited, because the mind is capable of discerning higher and higher degrees of greatness, and the subconscious is capable of providing creative energies of as high a state of fineness and power as may be required. To secure the best result from any method through which the great within is to be unfolded and expressed, it is extremely important to use properly the conscious and the subconscious factors of mind at the various stages of the process. While impressing the subconscious, the conscious mind should be strong, firm, positive, and highly active, but should become perfectly quiet and receptive while expecting a response from the subconscious. Harmony, serenity, and poise are indispensable states, both when the impression is being made and when the expression is expected. The right use of the will is of extraordinary importance, and neither time nor effort should be spared in establishing this right use, because where the will is misapplied, the subconscious expressions are interfered with to such an extent that the results are completely neutralized. While the subconscious is being impressed, the will should act firmly and directly upon that consciousness that is felt in the subconscious. But when the subconscious is expected to respond, the will should be relaxed into a state of complete inaction. It is not the purpose of the will to control the outer person by acting directly upon the outer person. The will controls the outer person by causing the subconscious to produce in the outer person whatever may be desired. But when the subconscious begins to express what the will has desired and directed, the will must, for the time being, cease to act. The true function of the will is to act upon the finer states of consciousness, that is, the subconscious states, those states that are felt in the deeper life of the personality or the mentality, and while in such action to impress upon the subconscious those causes that can produce the desired effects. When these causes have been impressed and the time has come for the expected result, the will must withdraw so that the personality may become sufficiently receptive to give the subconscious response the fullest and freest possible expression. The subconscious expression will come of itself at the time designated if the impression has been properly made, but every attempt of the will to help draw forth that expression will interfere with results. When the desired subconscious expression fails to appear at the time designated, the impression has either not been properly made or the subconscious response is being prevented by too much active will force, anxiety, or objective. The subconscious cannot express itself or do what it is directed to do unless the outer mentality and personality are in poise. But perfect poise is not possible so long as willpower is applied upon the external side of mind and body. Train the will to act upon the subconscious and the subconscious only, and this is readily accomplished by always turning attention upon the subconscious whenever the will is being employed. When acting upon the objective, the will only interferes with normal functions and can accomplish absolutely nothing. To move a muscle, the will must act upon the subconscious life that permeates that muscle. Should it act upon the muscle itself, the muscle will become rigid, and the muscular motion be made impossible. No one can do anything by objectively willing to do it. He can do what he wants to do only by causing the will to act upon that part of the subconscious that can do what he wants to have done. This law is absolute in all human actions, be they physical, metaphysical, intellectual, or emotional, mental, or spiritual. To train the will to act only upon the subconscious will increase the power of the conscious mind to impress the subconscious. The conscious action will not be divided, acting partly upon the objective and partly upon subjective, but will give its power and attention absolutely to the idea that is being subconsciously impressed. When the will acts upon the subconscious, there will be no will force in the outer mind or body to disturb the normal functions of the system. And when the entire system is normal and the subconscious can readily do whatever it may be directed to do, the conscious mind should employ the will solely for the purpose of impressing and directing the subconscious, but should give the subconscious unrestricted freedom to take full possession of the personality when expressions from within are expected to appear. Those who hesitate to give the subconscious expressions full right of way should remember that to move a muscle, the subconscious must take full possession of the muscle, and to think, the subconscious must exercise complete control of the mental faculty, and also that the subconscious will only do what it is directed to do. Though the personality must be controlled completely by the subconscious must be directed in all its actions by the conscious mind. Therefore, the wide-awake self continues to be the master.